third attempt also I was not able to clear prelims. I thought that my approach is not right. What PYQs are for? They are for to see how UPSC is framing question. What is the language of the UPSC? Why UPSC is using that particular word in that question? How UPSC is putting those questions? What are the right way of analyzing why a question is right or why a question is wrong? One need to understand that in prelims, static is the only way to crack the prelims. If you have command in static, you will be able to crack the prelims. I think answer writing is the most important part for the mains, because ultimately everyone has knowledge, but how to summarize that knowledge in two pages or 3 pages, or say 150 words or 250 words, the real challenge. For me, I think addressing the demand of the question is the most important thing, which helps you get a good score in mains exams. You should give 2 to 3 attempts with full focus on UPSC, but after 3 attempts you should look for a plan B. It's not about financial independence, it's give you that self boost and confidence which is needed. For this year prelims, revise static as much as possible, at least 3 times, because sir, I feel if revision is not done properly, retention becomes a challenge. Do not ignore CSAT at any cost.
Hello everyone, welcome to VisionIAS Toppers Talk series. Today with us we have Miss Prachi Honey, who has secured All India rank of 28 in UPSC CSE 2025. She will be sharing with us her journey and experience in UPSC CSE and her success mantra to crack this exam. Hello ma'am, welcome to VisionIAS, and we congratulate you on your incredible success.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for inviting me here.
Okay. So, ma'am, like, has that feeling of getting that double-digit rank in UPSC CSE has sunk yet, or it is still to be sunk?
I think, sir, I'm still processing it, because after seeing so many failures, you are more adapted to see failures in the life than success. So I think I am feeling very relaxed as of now, because I've exited the cycle, but it will take some more time to sink in this feeling.
But again, it is a very good news, right? The entire family and all those who are well wishers must be very happy, right?
Yes, sir. Everyone is in my family, my parents, my friends, my paternal house, my maternal house. Everybody is very happy, and after seeing them happy, it feels like the journey has now become worth.
Okay, okay. So, Prachi, for the benefit of our viewers, can you share your academic background a little bit with so that they can gauge the hard work and the education required to crack this exam?
Yes, sir. So I belong to Muzaffarpur district of Bihar. I have completed my primary education from DAV Public School, Muzaffarpur, till class 10th. In class 12th, I had opted for physics, chemistry, and biology. So I completed it from Holy Cross Public School, Muzaffarpur. When I was in class 12th, the news came that Tina Dabi ma'am topped the exam. So she became an inspiration, and it's like I wanted to pursue civil services after that. So I was of the view that humanities subject will help me in that direction. So I left physics, chemistry, and biology and opted for geography. So I came to Delhi University for doing geography honors, and I did it from Kalindi College, Delhi University. My both parents are government school teachers, and I think my parents have their role where they have modeled and channelized my interest in civil services since childhood. So like coming to civil services was my childhood dream.
Okay, okay. As you mentioned that your motivation was the previous year's toppers, right? And you have switched from science background to humanities, right? This decision itself sometimes becomes very tricky for a lot of candidates. So, what was your thought process like? How did you decided this that okay, I am leaving my science background, I will definitely go for humanities, because this decision is very bold, right? It requires a lot of thought process and that level of confidence. So can you elaborate on that a bit?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, when Tina Dabi ma'am topped, she had political science optional, and since I was pursuing physics, chemistry, and biology, I initially thought that zoology will be best suited to my capabilities and my interests. So I opened the zoology syllabus of UPSC. So I thought that it's doable subject for me. After that, I opened PYQs and syllabus of other GS subjects. So I thought it's completely different from what we have to read in GS. So at that point of time, I thought that it would be an extra burden for me to complete additional optional along with GS and other subjects. So I thought, why to not choose a subject which has overlapping with the GS subject. In that way, I will cover both optional and my GS. So the four major humanities subjects, I had options like political science, geography, history, and economics. Personally, I do not have much interest in history and political science, so I didn't choose that. I was more interested in geography and economics. But for economics honors, maths is needed in class 12th in Delhi University. So I didn't have maths in my 12th in Delhi, in my subjects of 12th. So I was not able to do economics honors. So I opted for geography honors, and it was not because I couldn't I didn't have option to pursue any other subject. It was solely based on my interest also, where I thought that geography is more suited to my abilities and my interest. So in that direction, I chose geography.
Okay, so let's say once you decided that I am going for CSE preparation full fledged, right? You started in your college itself, right? So what was your like the comprehensive approach to go into this preparation and be consistent in that preparation? Can you just give us a brief about it?
Yes, sir. In my first attempt, I tried to complete mains syllabus before prelims. So my goal was to complete everything like ethics and all other subjects till December. So I completed all my GS and ethics in my first attempt, December. After that, I started my prelims preparation from February, because in January I thought I should do more optional answer writing. So from February to June, because in my first attempt prelims happened in June. So I for 4 months I dedicated completely to prelims. In that attempt, I referred to all the static books and did PYQs. My only fault, which I think, was that I was doing PYQs, but I was not doing PYQs as the way it was needed. So that was the mistake I did in my first, second, and third attempt. And when I corrected that mistake in my fourth attempt, I was able to crack prelims also.
Okay, that's very interesting that you started from mains, right? And it is actually that is how it should be done, because most of the time people prepare only for prelims as such in this examination, right? So, like when you are preparing for prelims, so this is one of the biggest challenge that is aspirants has actually faced, that you also mentioned, that how to analyze the previous year questions, right? Can you elaborate on that? What is the method that you followed in analyzing those PYQs and making your strategies according to that?
Yes, so sir, initially what I used to believe that we have to just read PYQ and to figure out what UPSC is asking, which topics are getting repeated, and what are the answers of those questions. So my initial 2 years attempt was of like that, where I was just seeing question, marking answers, because it was giving me feeling that I am reading and I am able to solve questions. So I was of that view. But when in third attempt also I was not able to clear prelims. I thought that my approach is not right. What PYQs are for? They are for to see how UPSC is framing question. What is the language of the UPSC? Why UPSC is using that particular word in that question? How UPSC is putting those questions? What are the right way of analyzing why a question is right or why a question is wrong? So I only did, I have not done any test series in my fourth attempt, both for prelims and mains. I extensively did PYQ for both prelims and mains. So what I used to do, I used to have different color pens and I used to mark on PYQs that why this question is wrong, why this question is right. So ultimately what happened, I just got the knack that how UPSC is framing a question. So for that I used to solve 100 PYQs every day, so that I always remain in the mindset of what UPSC is asking. On the exam or on the prelims day itself, I solved 30 questions before entering into the prelims exam, so that the first question which I would be getting in the exam should be my 31st question, because I am solving 30 questions already. So 31st question will have that frame of mind where I am solving UPSC questions. So that was my approach, where I have to identify what UPSC is trying to make in that question. So sir, I think I did that differently in this attempt.
Okay, so that is a very good point, right? Getting into the minds of the UPSC question paper makers, right?
Yes.
Another very important crucial aspect of CSE preparation is managing current affairs with the static portion, right? And it is very crucial, especially in the prelims part, right?
Yes.
So can you give insight on that, how you manage that integration of current affairs with the static portion?
Yes, sir. So I used to read a newspaper, but I was not making any notes from the newspaper. I was just reading newspaper to just become aware about the things happening around me. I used to refer to monthly magazines. I referred VisionIAS monthly magazine. And then during the time of PT, when PT 365 and during the mains, when mains 365 used to come, I used to tally from the topics if there is something left or something more is there. So I think I have kept current affair very simple, only 1 year round current affairs. And if something is there which is consistently in news, for example, it was my fourth attempt, so I was knowing various topics which were consistently in news, so I was able to get that thing, that why this topic is important, what type of questions can be asked. So I think even if someone is giving in first attempt, 1 year current affair is more than enough, because anyway if something is asked other than that, people will face difficulty in those questions. And one need to understand that in prelims, static is the only way to crack the prelims. If you have command in static, you will be able to crack the prelims. Current affairs will give you that extra marks, but before getting that extra marks, you need to come across the borderline. So I think focus more on starting, and rather than focusing more on current affairs.
True, true. The fundamentals has to be very clear. Then only you can integrate the current affairs, and
Yes.
that will be your edge, right? Okay, so moving on to mains, like how important is answer writing for the mains examination?
Sir, I think answer writing is the most important part for the mains, because ultimately everyone has knowledge, but how to summarize that knowledge in 2 pages or 3 pages, or say 150 words or 250 words, the real challenge, because we see that questions are not also directly asked. Three topics are interlinked in one question, so we have to write multi-dimensional answers also. So initially everyone has that fear, that how to write answers. And trust me, whenever anybody starts writing answers, everyone writes very worst answer, like sometimes you exaggerate introduction, sometimes you do not write proper conclusion, sometimes body is not properly addressed. But ultimately when you write 20 to 30 questions, you start developing that, addressing the demand of the question. For me, I think addressing the demand of the question is the most important thing, which helps you get a good score in mains exams.
Definitely. So, like how many mocks for the mains, or how many number of questions are suggested to prepare for each paper of mains, according to you, will be sufficient to cut to get away get across that cutoff marks?
In mains, sir? Sir, in this attempt, I only did PYQs for mains also. So, but in my earlier attempts, I have done test series. So, I would say कि minimum 2 mocks per paper is required, because that will help in time management also. Plus, how you are addressing the questions. So, per paper, 2 mocks is like bare minimum thing which one can do.
Okay. Prachi, as you already mentioned that you have very good score in essays this time, right?
Yes.
So there are some subjects in mains like essay, ethics. These are sometimes neglected by the aspirants and quite low hanging fruits, right? And they can be actually rank deciding.
Yes.
So what was your approach towards essay and ethics paper?
Yes, so my approach towards essay was very simple, that I have to write a very simple essay that can be understanding for anybody. So I didn't use much flowery language or complicated vocabularies, because I thought that I'm not able to write good essays when I'm overdoing those things. So I used to write very simple essays. My essays introduction used to have anecdotes, where I used to write stories, and then used to conclude my essays with the same story, so that it can have a flow. And then most people face problem of flow in the essay. So for flow also, like, topics have to be come from GS only, like points are to generated from GS subjects only, but how to make it flow naturally. So if there is not naturally coming in essay, then one can use different templates. For example, one can use question answer format, where one establishes one question, then answers is, and then counter answer it. So different dimensions can be generated in that form. Another can be when one become a character in the essay and asks different questions. So there are multiple ways. So one way cannot suit everybody. It's like after writing 5 to 6 essays, one can find out that what is suiting my abilities, and in which template I am able to write a good essay. So I think even in essay also, try to write essay on alternate Sunday during prelims and mains. And agar prelims and mains ka period is not there, one can write essay twice in a month, or thrice in a month. It will help in listing the points, what points are needed to be written, because we can see nowadays philosophical essays are only coming. So to decipher the meaning of it is also a challenge. So when we are just brainstorming on the topic, we can also find out the bullet points which needs to be listed in the essay. I think so, sir. Brainstorming is also needed in the essay.
And writing those essays frequently, at least once a week, will give the idea of customization for the aspirants. They can identify their own approach, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. So, and what was your approach towards ethics paper as such? Because that is another very crucial paper, right? Can you elaborate on your approach on that?
Yes, sir. So for ethics, my simple approach was whatever is mentioned in the syllabus. I should have a notes on each topic. So I made notes on each topic, and my notes were mostly in question answer format. Where, for example, integrity topic is there. So I saw in PYQs what are the topics being asked on the similar topics. So I had my notes ready in 150 words only, because ethics we have only 10 markers. So वैसे in that way I prepared my notes. For case studies, I used to practice and evaluate it from like toppers answers, model answers, that what toppers are writing, and what I am lacking, or what should I complement, and how can I make my answers better. So I used to take inputs from those, but my basic theme was I have to have notes of all the topics, and I used to do value addition using different quotes, different examples of civil servants from different magazines like Better India, or YouTube channel videos, or newspapers. So that was my basic approach for ethics.
And that's very well put, Prachi. That point that you bring in, right? The toppers answer scripts. How important are those answer scripts to evaluate and self improve? Can you throw some light on that?
Yes, sir. I always used to look to the toppers' answer copies. For example, sir, Medha Anand ma'am's copy, ethics copy. I had taken very much insights from that copy. That's uploaded on VisionIAS resource wala section. So many things I noted down from ma'am's copy and used in my ethics answer. So I think when we read toppers copy, we just don't read toppers what toppers have written. We also get many points, many things which toppers and have written, and we were not able to write. So it also broaden our thought process, that next answer which we will write, we will add those components in our answer. So I think it's one of the most important way to channelize your answer writing strategy, as well as make your answer a good answer.
Yes, yes, definitely. And it helps also, right? That content might be same. We might also have the same content with the toppers, right? But
Yes.
the process in which they are expressing that content is very crucial and very critical to finish the paper in given time, right? Right? Okay, ma'am. So now moving on to another aspect, that because it is a long journey, right? You yourself spend a long time in this. So how did you maintain this motivation, right? Like it is a grueling journey, right? So can you elaborate on that you must have seen various phases of lows and uh, discouragement and demotivation, right? So can you elaborate on that process, that how you maintain this consistency and motivation?
Yes, sir, definitely. Since it was my fourth attempt, so it was mentally also very taxing that I am in this journey for this many years. But sir, I think the role of family, friends come at this point because my parents were very supporting and they used to support me a lot. I was having no pressure from that side. I was very fortunate to have one to two friends who have always supported me. Plus, sir, the difficulty which we face is we are losing our self worth in this process because we start to think that we are not able to do anything. So, I shifted to plan B after my third attempt. So, I advise people who are having multiple attempts that you should give 2 to 3 attempts with full focus on UPSC, but after 3 attempts, you should look for a plan B. It's not about financial independence, it's give you that self boost and confidence which is needed. For example, after my third attempt, I appeared for my state services examination and I was fortunate to clear it. So when I cleared that exam gave me the much needed self confidence and boost at that time. And after that exam, I was able to crack all the stages of UPSC also. So, sir, I think that phase where you need to understand where you have to exit that UPSC cycle to gain your self confidence back is also very much needed.
Yes, yes. So in short, that should have, like, every aspirant should have a family support system, a friend, one or two friends who can actually encourage you, and you should have some kind of plan B also, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there brings the role of mentor, ma'am. So how do you see a role of a mentor who can guide you through this process?
Sir, I think the vastness of the syllabus which UPSC has and the diversity which this exam offers, there is very much needed that we have a mentor so that mentor can guide us to a particular direction. Anyways, student has to do his or her share of hard work, but direction is very much needed because there is so much to read. I think what needs to be read in UPSC preparation is less important than we need to understand what we have to don't read. Sir, I think at that phase of time a mentor roles come. I have been very fortunate that I was also guided by many mentors, so I thank them also from this platform. And I think it's very much advisable that one should take a mentor's help. It will the navigating of path of UPSC then will become very easy, sir.
Absolutely. Prachi, you also brought up one point of mental health also, right?
Yes.
Because this journey is not about only academic efforts, right? It takes a lot of toll on your mental health. So what is your take on that? Because there is very little awareness among the aspirant and in general in the society about the mental wellness, right? Can you discuss about that?
Yes, sir. Sir, I think mental, not just mental health, physical health also. Both these perspectives are very much ignored in UPSC preparation. I myself have faced difficulties due to both my physical and mental health. I gained so much weight during UPSC preparation and I was facing very much difficulties due to that. So, sir, I think whoever is in preparation, they should have a physical activity so that it is not just about maintaining weight, it also makes you productive where you break your monotonous cycle of the day and have some relaxing time. Apart from that, sir, mental health should be taken care of very well because in this time you feel loneliness, emotional dependence, and sometimes very much anxiety. I was of the kind of personality who was very much anxious about everything. Overthinking is always there, self doubt, criticism. I think you should develop some hobby and try to deviate yourself positively in that direction. So when you do those hobbies, mental health is taken care of. For example, my hobby was to teach underserved kids or to watch travel vlogs. So when I used to do these things, I used to feel very happy. So I think that's very much needed that one should talk about mental health. And if you are facing any problem, please reach out to your family and your friends and talk to it. Do not suffocate yourself with your thoughts. It's very much needed to share your thoughts with anybody whom you are comfortable with.
That's very well put, Prachi. In fact, by acknowledging that very fact of mental wellness of the aspirants, Vision IAS has established a student wellness center here, Vision Care. In there, we have expert psychologists, totally professional support system is given to the aspirants. We have dedicated expert psychologists only for this purpose, and that process is highly confidential and professional. Anybody who is either from Vision IS ecosystem or outside the Vision IS ecosystem can come and register a session through our website or offline also, and they can have these sessions. So for the benefit of the aspirant, I would like to encourage them, if they need this kind of support or any guidance, or just want to talk to the psychologist, they can register a session there and they can take help from our side also. uh, in the last, Prachi, I would like to share your ideas, suggestion, or tips to those aspirants who are appearing for this year's prelims. What are your final tips or thoughts to them?
So for this year prelims, revise static as much as possible, at least 3 times, because sir, I feel if revision is not done properly, retention becomes a challenge. When we see 100 questions, it's just not 100 questions, it's 400 questions, because per question we have 4 options. So static revision is the only key for prelims, because you have, when you have static revision, you are so confident that it helps in elimination in other questions also. The second would be extensive revision of PYQs and analyzing PYQs, that why UPSC is asking particular question and what is the intent behind it. So sir, I think static revision plus PYQs, and sir, third would be do not ignore CSAT at any cost. CSAT is becoming challenging day by day. So sir, I think for CSAT, choosing the right question is an art. So, or you do not need to solve all the questions in the exam. For CSAT, also practice PYQs and see which questions, because some themes have very high repetition in CSAT, for example number system. So work on those areas and pick questions in CSAT with the help of PYQs, that this question I'll do in the exam, this question I'll leave. It will save time and you will have time to spend more on, say, comprehension part, logical reasoning part. So sir, I think these points should be taken care of for the aspirants who are appearing in the upcoming prelims, sir.
Thank you, Prachi, for sharing your experiences and tips with the aspirants. Dear aspirants, that was Prachi ma'am, and I hope, we hope that this session will help you to strategize your preparation and give you some kind of confidence and clarity in this UPSC preparation. All the best. Thank you.
Thanks a lot,
Thank
sir.
you.